Today, in this video, we're going to study the topic about right triangle trigonometry. Okay, and here are our lesson objectives. At the end of the lesson, you will be able to prove the 8 fundamental identities and the co-functions using the right triangle trigonometry. Second, evaluate the trigonometric functions of angles 30 degree, 45 degree, and 60 degrees. Third, you will be able to find the trigonometric function values of an angle by using the trigonometric identities and the function values of angles 30, 45, and 60 degrees. And last, you will learn to transform the left side of the equation, a trigonometric equation, into the right side of the equation using the trigonometric identities. And for our lesson outline, number 1, we're going to have a review of the 6 trigonometric functions. Second, the 6 trigonometric functions of special angles, union 30, 45, and 60 degree angles. Third, co-functions of complementary angles, na natutunan nyo na sa ating previous lesson about complementary angles. And last is the fundamental trigonometric identities. Okay, let us first define the 6 trigonometric functions. Now, our first look at the trigonometric functions is from a right triangle perspective. Okay, so therefore, let us consider a right triangle with one acute angle labeled theta. Okay, as shown sa ating figure. Relative to the angle theta, the 3 sides of the triangle are the following. We have the hypotenuse, the opposite side of theta, and the adjacent side, o yung side adjacent to the angle theta. Yan ay kung yung ating angle theta is located diyan. Yan yung angle between the hypotenuse and the base of the right triangle. But if theta ay dun sa taas, that is the angle between the hypotenuse and the altitude of the right triangle, your opposite side of angle theta will be something like the base of the right triangle, at yung adjacent side of theta will be the altitude of the right triangle. Okay. Now, if we're going to use the lengths of these 3 sides, we can form 6 ratios that define the 6 trigonometric functions of the acute angle theta. Ito yung tinatawag natin sine, cosecant, cosine, secant, tangent, and cotangent. As I said, ito yung ratios ng lengths of the sides of the right triangle ng ating figure. Now, these 6 functions are normally abbreviated as sine or sin, CSE for cosecant, cos for cosine, sec for secant, and tan for tangent, and lastly cot for cotangent. Okay. Now, let us define the 6 trigonometric functions. Okay. We have the right triangle definitions of trigonometric functions. Let theta be an acute angle of a right triangle. Now, take note, yung ating ditong theta is an acute angle less than 0, greater than 0, and less than 90 degrees, which means yung ating angle theta lies in the first quadrant. Okay? And therefore, yung ating pong 6 trigonometric function, kapag theta is located sa ating first quadrant, they are all positive. Okay? Now, for sine theta, that is sine theta is opposite side over the hypotenuse. For cosine, we have adjacent side over the hypotenuse. And for tangent theta, we have opposite side over the adjacent side. Now, take note, sa second row natin, yun yung reciprocals of the first 3 trigonometric functions. Okay, yung OPP natin is opposite of theta. ADJ natin, yun yung length of the side adjacent to theta, and HYP, length of the hypotenuse. Medyo alam na natin to at napag-aral na natin to nung grade 8 and grade 9 sa ating subject na math elective, and sa grade 9 naman yung subject ng mathematics. Okay, or math 9. Now, ito ay kilala natin, lalo na yung first 3 trigonometric functions as SOHCAHTOA. Okay, stands for sine, cosine, and tangent. O and H and A are opposite side, hypotenuse, and adjacent side. Now, we have the sines, cosine, and tangents of special angles. Yung mga special angles natin, ito yung 30, 45, and 60 degrees. At ito yung mga values of the sines, cosines, and tangents. For sine 30 degrees, we have that is equal to 1/2, or sine 30 is the same as sine pi over 6 in radian. And cosine 30 degrees equal to cosine pi over 6 equal to square root of 3 over 2. For tangent 30 degrees, that is the same as tangent pi over 6 equal to square root of 3 over 3. For the 45 degree and 60 degree angle, ito pa rin yung mga values natin ng sines, cosines, and tangents of these special angles. Take note, mostly ang gagamitin nating degree measure, angular measure is in radian. Okay, so dapat maging familiar na tayo sa radian measure. Now we have cofunctions. Ano ba yung cofunctions? It is a trigonometric function whose value for the complement of an angle is equal to the value of a given trigonometric functions of the angle itself. So ibig sabihin, pag kinuha natin yung trigonometric functions of a given angle, yung trigonometric functions of the complement ng angle na given is equal. For example, we have cosine theta that is equal to sine of the complement of angle theta, which is 90 degrees minus theta. And for sine theta, that is equal to cosine of the complement of angle theta, which is 90 degrees minus theta. Let's take for an example, we have if theta is equal to 30 degrees. Ang complement angle of theta na 30 degrees is 90 minus 30, that is equal to 60 degrees. So pag kinuha natin yung isang cofunctions natin na cosine quantity 90 minus theta is equal to sine theta, if theta is 30 degrees, therefore sine theta is equal to 1/2. Okay? So pag kinuha natin yung cosine 60, which is the complement of 30 degree, they have the same values. Okay? So therefore cosine quantity 90 minus theta is the same as cosine 60 equal to 1/2. So, mapapansin ninyo, yung trigonometric function na si sine theta ay equal dun sa trigonometric function na complement of angle theta, which is 90 minus theta. And that is what we call cofunctions. Okay? That is also true for tangent and cotangent, secant and cosecant, cosecant and secant, as shown dun sa ating pong mga equations. Okay? Now, kagaya nito, mapapansin nyo yung sine 30 degrees or sine pi over 6 is equal to 1/2 equal siya sa cosine 60 degrees or cosine pi over 3, which is the same as 1/2. And for sine 60 degrees, mapapansin ninyo, square root of 3 over 2 equal din siya sa cosine 30 degrees because 30 and 60 are complementary angles. Same as for sine 45 and cosine 45 degrees. Now, the next is yung ating fundamental trigonometric identities. So, kailangan memoryaduhin natin to kasi gagamitin natin to sa pag-verify ng given trigonometric identities. Now, we have the reciprocal identity. Sine theta equal to 1 over cosecant theta. Cosecant theta is 1 over sine theta. And for cosine and secant, the two are reciprocals. Tangent and cotangent, reciprocal din sila. And for the quotient identities, we have tangent theta equal to sine theta over cosine theta. Cotangent theta equal to cosine theta over sine theta. And we have the Pythagorean identity, sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equal to 1. 1 plus tangent squared theta equal to secant squared theta. 1 plus cotangent squared theta equal to cosecant squared theta. Now, I'm going to prove or verify these Pythagorean identities, especially sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equal to 1 using a right triangle with. And we can use these fundamental trigonometric identities in finding the other trigonometric functions of angles 30, 45 degree, and 60 degree, or what we call yung tinatawag natin pala special angles. Especially yung ating reciprocal identities. So let me show you an example on how we're going to determine cosecant, secant, and cotangent of special angles. Okay? Gamit yung fundamental trigonometric identities. Ito yung ipakita ko na sa inyo ng mga values of sine, cosine, and tangent of special angles 30, 45, and 60. Now, if we want to determine, for example, cosecant 30, we can use the reciprocal identity 1 over sine theta. Okay. And from our value of sine 30, that is equal to 1 half. Kukunin lang natin yung reciprocal of sine 30 or reciprocal of 1 half, that will be the value of cosecant 30 degrees. And that is equal to 1 over 1 half, or that is 1 times 2 over 1, that is the multiplicative inverse, and 1 times 2 over 1 is equal to 2. Therefore, cosecant 30 degrees is equal to 2. Pwede nyo rin gamitin yon yung ating reciprocal identity naman ng secant theta, which is 1 over cosine theta. Let me give you another example for uh, finding cotangent of angle theta gamit yung ating reciprocal identity 1 over tangent theta. Let's say we are interested to find cotangent 60 degrees. So, gagamitin natin yung tangent 60 degrees. Okay? And that is equal to square root of 3. Pag na-reciprocal natin yon, that is 1 over tangent 60, that is the value of cotangent 60 degrees. And that is equal to 1 over square root of 3, rationalizing the denominator by multiplying square root of 3 over square root of 3 to the numerator and denominator of our fraction. We have square root of 3 over 3 is the value of cotangent 60 degrees. Pwede nyo gawin yon in other trigonometric function pa natin like secant and cosecant of 60 degrees. Same as para doon sa secant and cosecant of 45 degrees and 30 degrees. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you an example on how we're going to use these trigonometric identities and the cofunction values in finding trigonometric functions. Also, bigyan ko an example on how we're going to use these trigonometric identities pa rin para ma-transform natin yung equation o left side of the equation maging equal siya sa right side of the equation. So, thank you.